Contrary to what you might have read across various news outlets, mortgage rates actually improved to close out the week. One of the major issues with the Freddie Mac survey, but I'll cover that in a different video. Now, the improvements on Friday came in large part to headlines over in Europe, across the ECB, specifically across Germany. It was good to see that spillover into the U.S. Bond market, allowing for rates to improve on Friday. Definitely good to see some green. Now, across our shortened week due to President's Day, we did have a bad 20-year bond auction. This is a gauge of investor demand for long-term bonds. Came in rather weak, and unfortunately, rates lost ground as a result. However, we did get some improvements following some PMI data, not typically a major report, but it had a prices component that showed the lowest level of price increase going back to 2020. This is a great gauge for price pressure, which influences inflation. Let's face it, inflation has been the major catalyst for rate volatility for the last couple of years and will be moving forward. We also had several Fed speakers talk about, one bad month of economic data is not going to make or break their decision to cut rates later in the year. They still think inflation will soften, will trend closer to their 2% target that will allow them to have a realistic conversation about rate cuts later in the year, right? They're cutting their short-term benchmark rate, the federal funds rate. Keep in mind, the Fed does not control mortgage rates. This is one of the big misconceptions. They do not control mortgage rates. Mortgage rates are based on supply and demand of long-term bonds, right? Of economic conditions, of inflation, right? Controlled by Wall Street. As we see consistent month-over-month data confirming that inflation is softening, is trending lower, rates will improve as well. And this week brings us PCE. This is the personal consumption expenditure. It is the Fed's favorite inflation metric. Not quite as big as CPI, but definitely is a very strong inflationary gauge. Comes out on Thursday. You have any questions at all about these headlines, about these trends that are impacting mortgage rates, or if you want to talk about your own pre-approval options, definitely give me a call. I'd love to talk to you. Have a great week.